Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel Learn Math with Sayyid Ali. One of my 11th grader has sent me this question. The Bay of Fundy, which is between Brunswick and Nova Scotia, has the highest tides in the world. There can be no water on the beach at low tides, while at the high tides water covers the beach. Following the tide curve here, this sketch, determine the following. So we have to answer these questions following this sine curve for the tides. We can see here on the x-axis is time in hours, and on the y-axis is the height of water, like water tide, right, in meters. So we can see that this tide is going to the highest value of 24 and a minimum value of 0. So that means if he is asking for what is maximum, my answer is 24 meters. And what is the minimum, which is 0, right? And what is the amplitude? Amplitude is again the highest value, right? So that will be 24. So let's see what questions being asked here. Why can you use periodic functions to model these tides? Why can you use periodic functions to model this tide? Yes, it repeats at regular interval. If it repeats that, so answer is, since curve repeats itself at regular interval. So this is your answer. It's like basic question what you have the concept, right? We did it in detail when we did that chapter, but now we can see that since the curve is repeating itself, right? So this is your one complete, the distance between the two crests or distance between the two trough, right, is the complete cycle. So it's repeating itself after each cycle. So it goes to the maximum, it goes to the minimum. So it's one cycle which is at 7, and then this is 7, right? And then it goes back again to the maximum and rise down at the 0. So every time the high tide is at 24 and the low tide at its 0, right? So 24 and 0. And if you take the mean of these two, like 24 plus 0 divided by 2, you get the A value, that is 12. Or you get the equation of the axis, y is equals to 12. So let's see what questions being asked. What is the change in depth of water from low tide to the high tide? What is the change? Change is 0 to 24, so 24 meters, right? What is the change of the tide? You will say change of the tide will be 24 meters. Answer, why? Because you have the high tide minus the low tide. So low tide is 0. So 24 meters is the change in depth of the water from low tide to the high tide. 24 meters. Next is determine the equation of the axis of the curve. Axis of the curve is always minimum plus maximum divided by 2. So since we have 24 and 0, so that means y is equals to 12 is axis. This is y is equals to 12, right? Y is equals to 12 is the axis of the curve. Next is, what is the amplitude of the curve? What is the amplitude of the curve, right? What is the amplitude of the curve? 12. What is the amplitude of the curve? 12. Or A is equals to 12. Right? So what is the amplitude of the curve? 12. What is the period? What is the period? Interval of x value. You can say interval of x value. Interval of x value, or when it repeats itself, right? So at what value of time it is repeating itself? So at each 7 hours and then again 7 hours. So your answer will be 7 hours. 7 hours. So this way you can answer the question. If he says what is maximum, you know the what is maximum. If you say what is minimum, so maximum is 24, minimum is 0. What is amplitude? Amplitude is sum of the maximum and minimum divided by 2, right? 24 plus 0 divided by 2, so 12. So amplitude is 12, or A is equals to 12. Or A is equals to 12. How you do it? Maximum plus minimum divided by 2, right? So these are the answers for the sinusoidal curve. So the curve was given, the statement was given, and then he said that the Bay of the Fundy, which is between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, has the highest tide in the world. There can be no water on the beach at the low tides. You can see no beach, no water, 0. While at the high tide, water covers the beach, and the high tide is 24 meters. Following the tide curves, determine the following, and you answer each of them. Hope you understand the answers and you like the video. If you like it, subscribe my channel, thumbs up, and share it with your friends and family friends. Maybe they are looking for some questions on grade 11. Thank you for watching.